Happy Arvo, thank you for coming back. I was hoping somebody would come back. Why the Aussie accent is so hard? I can't do accents, okay? So, the Aussie accent in particular, I listen to it all day long and I still can't do it, okay? G'day, mate. How about another shrimp? No, not shrimp. You guys don't put shrimp on the barbie. All right, let's watch.
$900 dues to buy it.
Dollary dues.
Great. Now let's cut the BS and get real. What?
No, nothing's going on around here. It's completely innocent.
What accent is
that? On the side
Bacon?
table.
Aussies have a pretty distinct accent, and it's one that Hollywood finds hard to imitate. Imitate well, that is.
They all fool me.
Who do they think I am? Some stupid Aussie drongo?
That sounds good.
But every now and then we get something like this.
Life is sharks. 100 million years ago, when the dinosaurs lay dying, last thing they saw was sharks.
Here's Liev Schreiber's own accent for comparison.
To be an actor, or I guess to do anything in show business, the first thing you have to be willing to do is make a complete ass of yourself.
Not that you did, Liev. So, what makes the Aussie accent so hard to do properly?
Did he do it good? It sounded pretty good to me.
It is really challenging because it's similar to a lot of different accents. It has components of a lot of different accents, and I think that's where people get derailed.
Leith McPherson is a dialect coach and the head of voice at the Victorian College of the Arts.
I always find it quite pleasing when I listen to accent tapes where one person is demonstrating 17 different accents, and you go, wow, impressive, 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 and they get to the Australian and you go, nah.
I've not met one American person that can do an Aussie accent.
That's bad.
Most likely this one included.
To understand
It would still fool me.
the intricacies of the Aussie accent, we have to take a look at how it was born.
The Australian accent started
cool.
more than 200 years ago in January 1788, when the first European settlement landed. Aboriginal Australians were already here at the time, of course, but English was a foreign language to them. The first colonies of Australia mainly came from southeastern England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. It was the children of these colonists who would have created the Australian accent. These children had their parents' accents, but also would have been influenced by the other children around them.
That's so wild how that works. I've always wondered how accents work, you know, like the American accent. Pretty young country, and yet we speak completely differently than Britain or, you know, the rest of the English-speaking world. So who was it over here that just decided to start saying color instead of color?
By the 1830s, these different sounds caused a new and distinct accent to emerge. Even as late as the mid...
That does make sense, though. Like, all those different... It kind of sounds that way. That's why it makes sense. That it's a combination of all the, European English sounding accents.
1900s.
Kind of. It's actually kind of unique, though.
You can still hear that British influence. But over time, those traits decreased as people embraced the Australian identity.
Over 1 million live in Sydney, and another 1 million in Melbourne.
But perhaps the nicest thing of all is this recent innovation by the Commercial Banking Company of Sydney.
Somehow it sounds more country-like. Like, in America, the southern accent from the south, you know, you go to the deep south, and people are talking like that. Australia sounds more southern. It's like the southern accent to the United Kingdom. More outdoorsy somehow. I don't know. Maybe that's just because that's how I think of Australian people, so I don't know.
A little card that brings you instant cash.
We've been wandering up and down Little Collins Street now for about 5 minutes. And whilst a lot of people noticed I was carrying a gun, what was amazing was very few of them seemed concerned.
As far as you're concerned, unless you're scripted, you're useless. Order. Unless you're scripted, you're useless.
Sorry, Mr. Keating. Anyway, this constant change has evolved the accent into what we know today as Australian English. So why is it so hard for others to get right?
I think it's because of that familiarity. So your brain is always looking for patterns. It's always looking for things that it already knows.
Take, for example, Robert Kaczynski. He's a British actor playing an Australian character in Pacific Rim.
You two are a goddamn disgrace. You're gonna get us all killed, and here's the thing, Riley. I want to come back from this mission.
Is it just me, or does that not sound Australian? That just sounds British.
And it ends up sort of sounding sort of kind of a weird, kind of cockney sort of thing that people do. And you think, that's what your brain is hearing. Your brain is hearing that pattern and then grouping it all together.
Compared to something like this.
You don't care about me. You don't even know me.
There are therapies we know are effective right now, like forsythia, and they don't even appear on the CDC website.
Can you imagine the pain they must be in not knowing where I am?
I don't know who I think I am to be judging this, because I'm not Australian, but that one was pretty good.
Now, before you get all defensive in the comments, know there is no one Australian accent.
There are 3 general groupings of the accent: cultivated, broad, and general.
Without spoiling, it ends with possibility.
And here's this bloke from the bush up in Beerwah, Queensland.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about for an Australian accent. Steve Irwin.
But nowadays,
Perfect.
those definitions aren't really adequate, as we've shifted towards a more general accent. A better way to group the accent would be Standard Australian, Aboriginal English, and Ethno-Cultural Australian English.
Sometimes we take those things for granted.
Helen picked a good spot near the water and spent the morning surfing and relaxing in the sun.
Huh. That doesn't even sound Australian to me.
Helen picked a good spot near the water and spent the morning surfing and relaxing in the sun.
That last one reflects the fact that everyone has an idiolect. Your own accent is shaped by the history of where you've lived and who you've grown up with, so we all sound a bit different.
Like your own voice. Everyone has their own unique voice. Breaking news.
From each other. But there are plenty of common traits.
And you learn over time in Australia.
It is interesting to think about.
To talk without moving your top lip. Because if you open your mouth, the flies go in.
Jimmy and I started both doing the same. We're like,
Maybe because he's a New Zealander, but that's not quite right. The back of the mouth at least should be really open.
So you can feel like you're almost sitting on the
yeah, you can feel like, yeah, you know, come on over here into the outback and take a look at what we've got. And, you know, these crocodiles, not alligators, are vicious back here.
edge of your seat, looking down a little bit, like
How good was that?
you're feeling like you're looking over the edge of something, and that's going to lift your tongue up at the back and give you that warm kind of bright quality that really distinguishes this accent. You don't hear a lot of Australians talking like that. You don't hear that kind of dull.
No, you don't hear
What we call a
Australians
denasal sound.
talking like
Australians
that.
are much more likely to have a level of nasality.
If you're aware, we all go up at the end of every sentence. Because we're all too insecure to actually make a statement.
So when people are actually making a statement, but they're actually going up in tune as they're talking to you, and you may notice that quite a lot. But again, it doesn't happen everywhere. It's not a distinguishing characteristic, but it is a trait which American speakers, for example, would have to learn.
I think that kind of makes you sound more friendly, Australians, when they talk like that.
And finally, what was that last one again?
The hesitation sound, which is a really, really good way of figuring out how someone's mouth works in a different accent or language.
Ah, that's it.
So to know that that's where the Australian tongue rests is hugely helpful for, like, if I'm like for Scots, if I'm doing like a Scottish accent, like that, their hesitation sound, which is really high and forward, takes a lot of effort for us, but that's where their tongue rests. So for them to just drop back to gives
It's a lot of work to have my tongue. It's a good thing I'm not
you a
Australian.
sense of the whole landscape that you're working with.
And there are plenty of other common traits like our lack of enunciation and our sing-songy flow. But who knows?
Sing-songy flow.
Technology connecting us to other cultures and ways of speaking, maybe in 100 years we'll sound totally different.
So it's interesting to see that maybe we might have more of an American influence coming in and less of a British influence. But where that takes us, I don't know.
I don't want you guys to lose your accent.
Oh, what an exciting journey.
Hi there, thanks for watching.
Huh. Yeah, that's really interesting. It is a very... I just suck at doing accents, so I'm like the worst person to be thinking about the idiosyncrasies between all the different accents and stuff. But it's so distinct sounding from a British accent, and yet there's a lot of similarities. Like when I do an impression, I end up mixing the two and every other accent in the world because I just suck at, I don't know, my brain doesn't work. Well, anyway, you have a fantastic day. Okay, have a happy Arvo. And well, if you enjoyed the video, you can always subscribe for more Australian reactions, don't you know? Shrimp Barbie. And well, I'll see you in the next one, which hopefully will be tomorrow, okay? Okay. Well, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Happy hour. Bye.